Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times, Sunday, January 10, 2021. For today's editorial, Charter Amendment's Unwanted Distraction. Attempts to amend the 1987 Constitution at this time would likely distract from the national priority of nursing the economy back to health. Like most economies in the world, the Philippines is in a recession, with gross domestic product or GDP contracting some 10% in the first 9 months of last year. The last quarter of 2020 was also likely negative, the central bank governor said recently, and the official GDP forecast for the previous year is negative, between 6.5% and 7.5%. Economic managers are hoping for a strong economic rebound, beginning this quarter as people are gradually returning to their normal activities. Lest we forget, however, the pandemic remains. Cases, including ones from a mutated strain, are surging through North America and Europe, prompting many countries, including the Philippines, to suspend travel from abroad as a precaution. On top of that, the Philippines lags behind in vaccination. Some 15 nations have already started inoculating their people against COVID-19, while the Philippines is looking at March or sometime in the second quarter to acquire vaccines. Meanwhile, a black market for COVID-19 vaccines has apparently emerged. Earlier, it was reported that the Presidential Security Group, or PSG, has obtained a smuggled vaccine and gave shots to its men. Also, reports have it that some 100,000 Chinese foreign workers and Chinese Filipinos were also able to get anti-COVID shots despite the fact that the local Food and Drug Authority, or FDA, has not yet approved any vaccine for domestic use. It's a mess. It was disappointing that President Rodrigo Duterte objected to the Senate investigation of the PSG case. He said he was defending his security detail even though they clearly did something illegal. But the lawmakers could have discussed amending the policies of the FDA on vaccines and perhaps even other types of experimental medicines that may be used in emergency situations or in cases involving terminally ill patients. Sadly, some lawmakers would rather discuss charter change, which has been a politically charged and divisive issue in the Philippines. Frankly, it is a distraction at this time when our focus should be on the economy. Of course, we do not suggest that Congress only discuss pressing matters of the day. Leaders also need to help the country prepare for the future. There are many ways to do that, though. How about further increasing public spending on healthcare and key infrastructure? Or how about acquiring a satellite overlay needed to improve telecommunications services, particularly internet speed and quality? Those would address the rationale of the lawmakers, who profess the need to amend the Charter's economic provisions, albeit in less controversial ways. Regarding mistrust and bad timing, of course, the problem is that the public does not trust politicians to limit themselves to the Constitution's economic provisions. There are lingering suspicions that they are driven to remove term limits and remove other provisions that limit their powers. Add to that mix is the fact that 2021 is the start of the political season in the Philippines. Political leaders are, of course, preparing for the 2022 elections. Even President Duterte, whose 6-year term ends next year, opens himself to criticisms and public doubt, even if his reasons for charter change is to overhaul the party list system. It has been co-opted by the extreme left that wants to overthrow the government, as well as by traditional political clans that continue to milk the system. It is reassuring to hear Palace spokesman Harry Roque Jr. clarify that the government priority remains to be fighting the pandemic and economic recovery. More of our leaders should stick to that plan. Granted, the Constitution is far from perfect. Parts of it are not even written well. But our leaders might be better appreciated if they find alternative ways to create a better investment environment. Also, a healthier economy tends to empower people to make better choices about local and national leadership. In contrast, charter change promises to alter the rules of the land but leaves us with the same cast of characters. Besides, the path toward it is riddled with political landmines. And that's the editorial for Sunday, January 10, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to our digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.